I'll call to order the Capital Outlay Committee meeting. Today is Monday, March 20th. Time is 4:03. Be it known to all that this meeting is being recorded pursuant to the open meeting laws as governed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We will take roll. If you can just go ahead and state your name and position.
Paul Reynolds, Treasurer Collector, present.
Robert Rendon, Capital Outlay Committee Chairman and Finance Committee Member.
Brenda Herbeck, Member at Large.
Ken Pacheco, Selectman.
Serena Emerald, Accountant. Leonard Ho, the Board of Selectmen.
Mike Long, Administrator.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, first on our agenda are the FY24 capital requests. They are included in the packet that Mike distributed. So go through these super quick here. I don't think there's
One more thing, question. These are all new, but we still have some that.
We do. And so we have the old 2020 the old remaining 23 requests that we haven't acted on. And then we have the other, and then we have the previously scheduled 24 requests as well. And a lot of the original 24 requests were largely placeholders. But on top of just as an example, for 24 the library, / you identified a midterm library location. The cost for the cost to be determined. We hopefully have a better idea how we're moving forward with that. But yeah, there are like a few smaller items on here as well. And in addition to the fire department last year for 24, they actually identified a need to fund a new Car 1 emergency cruiser. And yeah, so the new capital request that we have in front of us tonight, they need to be ranked along with the older FY24 capital request too.
Okay. And I think for tonight, to the purpose of today's meeting, we're just going to go through the new ones. Right. So let's just go, one by one. So $145,631.60 for the Main Street drainage upgrades. Any questions or comments on this?
One comment that I would deliver would be that this actually just came up in a conversation that Mike and I had today. I was recalling that Main Street over the next, I'm not sure, a year or two, at some point in the future is going to be getting sidewalks. So one of the questions that I had was, is the addition of the sidewalks on Main Street, is that going to end up causing stormwater or water runoff issues? Because I figure that 8 or 10 feet or however much they need for the sidewalks times 2 miles of road. I was concerned that might cause some water issues. I personally live at the lowest point on Main Street and it's pretty wet down there. And I believe that Mike mentioned that this does kind of have that in mind as well. So this is kind of interwoven with another future future project.
Yeah, like the fact that like we're seeing the Main Street drainage upgrade proposal and now I think it's very timely. Like in terms of, like really having a kind of a very real view of the financial resources that will go into making Main Street work. So like in the totality. And yeah, so I think the fact that we're seeing this now, was just again very timely and needed.
So my only question in regards to this is down under our funding sources, indicating that we're going to determine what those funding sources are, and that's not the case. What I'm really expecting to see here from department heads is grants that they've applied for, sources of funding that are outside of stabilization funds, whether it's the general or the capital. Obviously for this committee, it's the use of the capital stabilization fund, but I'm expecting to see some sort of effort on their part to ascertain whether or not there's any of that type of funding available. Now, especially with the highway department, is this on top of the state funding that we get, that he's seeking out this money? Yes. Or is he proposing that this is being, taken out of the state fund? What is that, chapter 90?
Yeah, chapter 90. So my understanding for the paving and reclamation of Main Street, and just focusing on that is where the highway superintendent is really leveraging spending on chapter 90, and this $145,000 for drainage will be over and above what our chapter 90 resources are.
And where does this fit into the whole pavement maintenance plan program that the highway department presented to the finance committee? Is this outside of that as well?
So no, Main Street is right at the beginning of that. I mean, we in the highway department begin the Main Street process. The Main Street project process preempted the pavement management plan process.
Okay. So I mean, we're looking at this one at 145,000 and change.
Yeah.
And then we've got another $500,000 request for the bridge,
Yes.
which obviously is outside of pavement maintenance because it's a bridge program. But we're also then looking at another 27,500 for the bridge at Briggs Street. And that's just the analysis. We're also looking at $12,000 for Old Somerset Avenue drainage upgrade. I mean, so these are what we're basically saying is we have needs from the highway department above and beyond chapter 90 money that doesn't fall under the pavement maintenance program.
That is my understanding, yes. Yeah, specifically deal with utility. So there are utilities and resources like under the road that we need to deal with in order to deal with the road. So yeah, and I think like, like at the next meeting, I would assume like as we get into really to ranking these, like, I mean, I think we will need the highway superintendent, like other relevant department heads here. I just wanted us to really be able to really digest this now before we did that.
Yeah, and because I mean, I obviously have some questions around the Briggs Street Bridge. Because quite honestly, I've been in town for 20 years now, and that bridge has been out for over that period of time. And do we just look at shutting it down, not doing anything with it? I mean, that's a question that we need to have answered. And I'd love to hear from the residents who live in the area, what benefit it might have to revamp that bridge to make it usable again. Because otherwise, I mean, we've gone this long without it.
And yeah, like one of the other bridges in the area too that was raised as an issue in all, you know, about concern in our municipal vulnerability and this thing is actually the Center Street Bridge. And the impact, you know, that the flow of the river has on that bridge as well, and the in the sustainability of that bridge in relation to the MVP, related to the MVP plan as well. So it's critical now that we have a very overarching view of all these resources at the same time. So I don't disagree.
Okay. Okay. So that's for drainage upgrades on Main Street, as long as it's, you know, as Paul's indicated, we're taking into account the possibility of sidewalks are very.
Yes.
And I think we're good there. Any questions on that first request? I know I kind of mentioned all the rest of these, so we now have the Pleasant Street Bridge replacement, $500,000. And this is in addition to a $2.75 million grant.
Yes.
Now, he also, Superintendent Ferry also mentions possibility of using ARPA Flex. What do we got? What does ARPA look like right now for us?
So the ARPA, in the federal omnibus bill, where the town actually received the $2.75 million earmark from Congress. And also the bill, the law also included a provision to loosen up some of the original restrictions on ARPA funding. And so yes, so one of the possibilities, if we do have access to doing into addressing transportation needs and infrastructure needs with ARPA, we would have that funding available to us. So we already have accounted for almost $832,000 in ARPA and EU funding, but through the county we have access to another $1.1 million. Of that, there is another capital request, actually in the packet in terms of the Dayton Power sewer pump repair that would cost about $500,000. But we would, in terms of our available 1.1, in terms of our available existing $1.1 million, we would be able to address, the $500,000 through there if we do. If the Treasury does interpret, which we're waiting for the Treasury to interpret, make rules around the updated law.
Okay. Thank you. Questions around that one?
This goes over a couple of fiscal years.
So we're actually in the final permitting stages of that of the Pleasant Street Bridge now. And because of the federal funding that we got, it does actually increase our permitting requirements. So we believe that we'll be in the permitting phase for that project for about another year. And so that's why I mentioned that we expect, if all goes according to plan, hopefully to be able to put that project up a bit a year from now. And so in order, and we just like to make sure we have the funds that we that really we're bidding out for before we actually bid a project out if possible. So yes, so that's why it's a late FY24, beginning of FY25
Right.
obligation.
And so if we put this on special, tell me what the process is. If we put it on special for FY 24 and we don't use it, we can then go to a special. I'm sorry, if we just put it out just put it out there for FY 24, whether it's regular or special, it doesn't matter when we do it. But if we don't use those funds in FY 24, we can just
Yes.
make another, have another warrant article, or is it automatically?
You don't have to.
Okay, so it's already, it's 3 years. Thank you. Perfect. Any other questions on the bridge? Okay, next one is 27,500 for an alternative analysis on the Brick Street Bridge. Again, we talked a little bit about that and whether or not we truly need something like that. We can ask around, formulate opinions, and discuss when we rank. Any questions on Brick Street?
No,
All right. On to the next one, $12,425.46 for drainage upgrades on Old Somerset Ave. Again. So it's an ongoing project, and it is about safety. Questions on this?
So he doesn't know when it's to be determined, when you're going to do that.
Yeah, we would need to ask the superintendent when that's gonna happen. All right, next one in the amount of $11,010.74, also for FY 24. And it's drainage upgrades on Williams Street. Any questions on this?
We need, as you noted, we need a superintendent here.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Wheeler Street, $29,328.60. This one also includes some grading that needs to be done.
They need to hear from the stormwater agent as well, if it's gonna change the grade.
I believe, let's see. I mean, there's a possibility we would need to hear from, I would assume that any grading project has already included stormwater and been approved.
Fair enough.
I mean, probably a big assumption on my part, though. But yeah, that's a good question, Paul. Okay. The next one is for the police department. It's a 3-year plan to replace portable radios. So we'll need to talk to the chief here because he says it's a 3-year plan, but he has FY 24 through 27, which is 4 years. So is it, and it's 3 units per year. So is it 9 units or is it 12 units? Not a big deal, I don't think. We just need to get that straightened out, clarified for us. But I think again, moving from analog to digital.
Yeah.
Is really the
Yeah, like, and everything and all
Technology.
like being phased out.
yeah, it's a technology thing. And then same with the next one. The next one though is with the cruiser radios. My only question, and this is 3,000 per year. Again, same question. He has a 3-year, plan, but 4 years listed. And it's 1 radio per year. We have a lot more than 3 cruisers, so I'm just questioning, are all of our other is it only 3 cruisers that need that upgrade? Because all the current ones
They've been modified.
already have the newer technology. And these are 3 that we are not phasing out over the next 3 years, essentially. So as we upgrade our fleet, we're assuming we're getting the, you know, the digital radios that we're putting into these ones. So I personally, because I wouldn't mind seeing this just as one more article for a total plan.
Okay.
And take it all into account as one. As one progressive act, as opposed to having 2 separate requests.
That makes sense. Yeah, like it's like a relatively low dollar ask. So.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to try to do that on free cash.
We haven't determined how to fund it.
Oh, okay.
So it's whether or not, again, where we prioritize it, where we, you know, so like one of the questions I would have for the chief is, you've only got to replace 3 in the cruisers, and we're giving you a new cruiser every year. In 3 years, does that mean that we would have phased out those cruisers to begin with? Right? So that's that's the question on that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to start spending from a capital outlay perspective. I'm not going to start spending free cash from future fiscal years today. That's to me is just a big no-no. Right? And we don't know what we're going to have for free cash 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So it needs to be factored as would we propose it coming out of capital stabilization right now? And if the answer is yes, great, we've got it earmarked. And 2 years from now, when we revisit this for the final year of the program, if we say, no, we've got the free cash to do it, we'll just do it out of free cash, then we can do it then. But yeah, I'm not going to propose that this committee starts earmarking free cash years from now to take care of these things. That makes sense? I mean, anybody up here disagree with that?
No, makes sense to me.
Okay.
I'd be curious what what we would consider to be our kind of minimum dollar threshold for us to be considering things. Like at what point does this kind of become just funding it out of the departmental budget
Yeah.
versus?
I know where the chief is coming from here. It's a one-time cost to get the technology upgraded. We've kind of set the threshold at 5,000. This is, I mean, if you take it over the course of 3 years, it's 9,000. That's why one of the reasons why I suggested combining it was so that we kind of fit that under what we've determined to be our threshold as well. So we're not doing the 3 years, 3,000 per year for 3 years at 9,000. Instead, it's the 10,000 plus 3,000, so 13,000 per year for 3 years.
Sure.
Other questions on that? Okay, sewer, 509,000 plus or minus. There's an attached schedule on it. So this is a power plant pump station for sewer. So this will be something that we really need to seriously consider, given that the whole town isn't on sewer. Right? So you will have taxpayers who aren't don't have the privilege of tying into our system.
And on the flip side, as we know, though, Dayton Power is, I think, in our top 2 of Dayton tax base. So, like, I mean, my concern is not investing in all this infrastructure would actually jeopardize. So it could jeopardize the sustainability of Dayton Power, which would really jeopardize the tax base.
Yeah. Which is why I mean, and so there's suggested use of ARPA here.
Yes.
Because would be no tax burden on the townspeople.
Yes.
And therefore have basically
Yeah,
on our tax rate. I think that's what makes it a soluble issue to resolve in that fashion.
Agreed. And also like in the current FY23 year budget, in terms of what is budgeted under the sewer enterprise fund, they do have $150,000 in capital funding, which they have already, like, if we can, so we can submit a request to the county and have everything up to bid and be under contract by the end of the fiscal year. They've also pledged $100,000. I realize it. They've also pledged actually funding $100,000 of the $509,000. So our total up request for that would just be $409,000.
But Lance, you can see right here if you'd like.
The copy sheet on the end line.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. I was trying to get on Zoom. I sent you an email.
Yeah, like we don't actually have like a Zoom link out like for this. I actually just created the meeting itself right now.
I'm 2 minutes away. I could have been here at 4 o'clock, but I
Okay.
saw the Zoom link and I'm trying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Okay, Terry. Okay, now you're trying to,
Yeah, you're right. Oh, geez.
just ignore me. Go on with the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so it's good to know that the sewer commission has set aside some money if we can get this funded appropriately.
Yes.
Okay. Other questions on?
No, this is a bad tax collector. I should have brought it with me. I just did for our continuing disclosure, I just did a list of our top 10 biggest taxpayers. And like Mike said, I think Dayton Power is either number 1 or 2.
Okay.
You know how much they pay?
It,
We alone, they got a meeting. That's that question, maybe not.
I don't have that off the top of my head. Actually, guessing if
somewhere, but I think it's,
or
I think it is somewhere around, yeah, it's around 500,000. Yeah.
a year. And yeah, and that's what I mentioned.
Actually, you know, I could probably tell you right now. Let me take a peek. I'll blurt it out in just a minute.
Okay. So then our next one is the from street sweeping and stormwater department. This is for an MS4 implementation plan.
That's the local municipality stormwater approval permit, I believe, right? It's the MS-14 municipal stormwater 4. I think is what it is.
Yes, like when and it lays out requirements under the federal 2016 permit that we have to keep up with on a regular basis. And right now, like we are supposed to do dry weather, outfall, screening and sampling. Like we're also supposed to have like an out-to-fall map, which we do. But they are hand-drawn maps. Like so one of the hopes here, in addition to actually coming up with a stormwater, with like a real implementation plan to address our goals. Like in the requirement that requirements that the town has under the 2016 permit requirements. Like we would be able to create a GIS layer that would be able to overlay the town's GIS layer that has all our stormwater outfalls mapped. And they would also allow us to create like a baseline screening and sampling process that we would be able to really use as really having a base plan to help inform our efforts move forward.
Okay. The only question I have on this one actually is they've requested 25,700.
Yep.
Which if you go to the last page of the documentation provided by the vendor here, that's only the cost of task number 3 there in the table.
That is my bad. I misinterpreted that.
What?
That was my bad.
You filled this form out for them then?
I did, yes. And I viewed it like I just looked at a bottom line number. So I completely misinterpreted that.
So it's really this closer to 40.
45,000. Yep, that was me. I could pay attention to detail.
All right, so it's 40, what is that, 41, 42 something? 35, 35, 100.
Sorry about that.
All right,
Oh, Dayton Power is our single largest taxpayer at $753,581.46, which comprises 3.66% of the total levy.
thank you.
46 cents.
Yeah. 3.66.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, so for this request, one question, Mike.
Yes.
And I think this is a question that we should ask for some of these. Is this, and I think I heard it, is this required in order to fulfill our regulatory obligations?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, and but we do have the opportunity to fund it under opera as well. This
Yes.
is a lot of opera costs.
Okay. Okay. Library. This is the request for $473,103. It excludes furnishings, fixtures and equipment. There's a detailed estimate report out there that supports this. I'm not going to go through this because I'm not in construction and I'm just going to assume that everything in there is needed. The question really becomes then, how do we kind of blend this? Because if I look at the budget breakdown, we're looking at a total budget of $796,000. There's a request out to the CPC to see if they'll fund it, a portion of it. But then there's also a couple of grants they're pursuing,
Yes.
which is fantastic. I love it when I see department heads pursuing grants. But we have to work under the premise that we're not going to be winning those grants. Right?
At this point, yes.
So.
So the CPC did recommend the $323,000.
Okay.
Before
So they voted on it and it's been
They voted
approved
on it.
already? So
the.
this is, okay, okay, wonderful. So now. We have these, let's just assume that we have to fund roughly $475,000 here.
So one of the options that is also being looked at like at this point as well, like is if we did the work under that was projected or proposed and have $473,000. If we did that in-house, like we use and the opportunities we have through the highway department. But also BP has also reached out to us and they've also volunteered to partner with us in this as well. And so the question is, and we hope to have a better idea in the next few weeks. Probably honestly, by the time we get back here to really score these, we might be able to have like an updated, hopefully lower number there. Which may just make like our ability to fund this more doable.
And easier to sell to the voters. It takes the 2/3 vote, correct?
Just if we use capital stabilization, yes.
Yeah.
Now, the labor that was billed, do we know if that was billed at, I just flipped through, but was that billed at prevailing wage?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Anything that we could do in-house could substantially reduce the labor cost.
Mhm.
Yeah, like knowing that too, like, we wouldn't have had to deal with any of the contractors markup either, which is inherently there too.
I mean, look at what they did to this building.
Yeah,
I mean,
like building town hall. Yeah. We're really lucky. That way.
BP's with several other towns doing similar projects.
Right.
They've been able to work around. That's good. Eddie Future
yeah,
is our representative. Working with BP.
Nice.
other questions about this one? This is probably one that we would probably fund out of capital stabilization. Regardless of the dollar amount. Townspeople have voted on this one. They want a library.
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll purchase the building. All right.
I am curious why it says increased safety on here, though.
Yeah, probably because the of all the ADA compliance.
Yes.
Issues that need to be. That are costs that.
Yeah, that might be a stretch, that might have been that could have been an overly ambitious check the box.
Right, I try not to get too nebulous with the public safety ones.
Yeah, no, I agree, like, we've gone down that road already, so.
Okay. Next library one. Is FY 24 or 25. This is for the furnishings. $175,000. And these estimates are based on 2022 values. So we are looking for some grant money. Again, you know, Jocelyn does make a note that we can't count on it, which fully understand. My question to Jocelyn would be, is there any existing equipment and fixtures and furnishings that are I don't want to use the word salvageable, that's the wrong word. That are in you know, good to great condition that we can repurpose at the new space.
Mr. Raymond, also another idea. Friends of the library have $50,000 in a fund, but I'd like to see a capital project where the citizens of Dayton embrace this library through a fundraising project. That there are many people in the community and the friends who'd like to be a part of. With $175,000, even $200,000 with $50,000 already in the bank. It's not a whole lot of money to raise, it really isn't. People reaching out to the corporate side of things, major donors, individuals. Mr. Karen talked about reaching out to individuals by selling bricks for a walkway. This way we embrace the whole community. That number of is a little less. What's it needed, so.
Anything we can do to offset that number, I'm game for. It's you know, it's to me, it's wonderful in theory. We need the townspeople who are very interested in doing this to step up and, you know, just as all of us here who are volunteers in our positions have stepped forward to help this town out. We need those people to step forward now.
Now, is the Friends of the Library's funds that they've raised, do you know, I know we also at the town, we have a library gifts and donations account that has about 50,000 in it. Is that the account that you're referring to, or do the Friends as a private organization maintain their own as well, because I know that.
One C3, so
Private.
Yeah, but the donations through that $50,000 that were made. Like, and have been for that purpose, I missed that back.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a fundraising effort way back when we tried to get a new library.
Okay, is that the account that I'm referring to? It's at the town? Okay.
So so there's two separate $50,000 accounts?
No.
Just one, just one.
Yeah,
It's this one.
yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's held in a trust specifically for specifically for library gifts and donations.
Okay.
Specifically what it's for.
And what the use of that money is determined by who? The library trustees or the friends?
I know it's held by the town. So I would believe,
And it'd be the trustee.
yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Unless when that particular money, because it's considered a donation to the town. So if when the friends donated it, usually we ask for a statement of uses and purposes. So if when they donated the money, had specific use for that money, then we would have to go by their guidelines. Unless if they just left it open, then it would be up to our discretion. So I would have to research to see.
I'll check my office too. I would be surprised if I have.
Yeah.
something. I'm sure I've got all the original paperwork for the account was open, so I'll see what we've got with it.
Okay.
The other thing is, the library is not gonna be open within the next year, so I'm not sure this is something we ought to address this year. 24.
I don't-
Talk about it. And we'll have to-
Right.
I'm not sure.
Right.
This is I think there's so many other items there. But we can talk with overall.
I don't disagree at all.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that, the timing of this will determine when we should consider it. Thank you. Any other questions on that?
Another question? I want a brick. That's about it.
All right, that is it for the request submitted for this latest go around, if you will.
Yes.
Um,
And we do have the prior submitted, FY 24 requests that we haven't made yet as well. So the warrant does close on April 12th. And so I'm just wondering between now and April 12th, like I know Mr. Sebek has a vacation in there as well, so maybe it'll be closer to the 12th, whether capital outlay is part of the review process. Good. Like way in with our FY 24 ranking, so we have something to inform the BOS and the FinCom for the remainder of the costs
right.
of the warrant process.
Have we circled back with the department heads on those requests to see if they are still submitting warrant articles in this fiscal year? And I'm looking specifically more so at at Parks and Rec, for example. Same thing, and even the Highway Department feasibility study.
Jinx would be a no, but I will confirm that. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, one of the. And that's what like I mentioned prior to the warrant closing, because one of the. Things like I think we in the town were hoping to do with the establishment of this group was really to take the guesswork out of. The sponsoring of articles that really we didn't. At this point in time that haven't yet been made. Scheduled or we have the ability to fund either. And I mean, a few of those things right now, especially for the annual. We don't have the ability to fund, and whether we have the ability to fund them at a November special is also questionable right now too.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is the 5-year plan, capital plan.
And one thing that I was hoping to have done before this was really putting all these So yeah, like into the spreadsheet, so we can see how like all this really looks and lays out. I unfortunately I haven't had the ability to do that yet. I'm very ambitious in the agenda creation as well. So yeah, so when we reconvene, we can look at that as
Yeah.
well.
I mean, just round numbers, looking at everything between what's up there and what's been presented in front of us. I mean, we're looking at probably 2.5 million in FY 24.
Oh,
Some of it,
yeah.
some of it is not. Some of it's targeted for ARPA, some of it's gonna be, supported by. Like the sewer project is the pump is, they're gonna kick in a little bit is the plan kind of thing, so. That number comes down a little bit. If we fund things through ARPA, if we're allowed to do that. Comes down a little bit more, but still. $2 million when we're setting aside, what are we transferring to capital stabilization last year?
It's from 700, right?
Yeah,
700,000.
yeah. Obviously, it's not sustainable. So,
like, and one of the things like as well, like just, actually talking about really making sure we're utilizing all types of like funding sources as well. Like when you think about the library, just the 207 Main Street building and the $2 million that we have said from last May that, that plan is really going to rely on. And already like out of that $2 million, we have funded the acquisition, the improvements. Like so far out of that 2 million, like over $1.1 million. So that's what we're no longer looking to like free cash. We're no longer looking to the operational budget. We can still actually afford to do that. We need to look at state and federal and other grant revenue sources. So and we've been really successful at that. And that's really the only way we know that we're going to be able to do that. But I think, honestly, I do think that needs to be more understood out in the community. So that this is an imperative. It's not just a hope and dream. It's an imperative that we still really have if we are really serious about making all this work.
okay, so if we, Mike, do you think it's possible to get these into this and then get what the 5-year looks like and get that like published by the end of the week to everybody on this committee?
Yeah, it's a problem.
Okay. All right. I don't want to tie you to a deadline that isn't achievable, but.
No, like the end of the week is actually like finally all of our major budget work is really done at this point. It's now up to you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so now we need to schedule a meeting to score these new requests as well as the existing requests. Brenda, when are you going on vacation?
Tonight,
Where are you taking me? Hopefully someplace warm.
I'm going to the Azores.
Oh, nice, nice.
Brother has a house over there.
Oh, nice. When do we come back?
Yeah.
2 weeks?
Second.
April 2nd. Okay. So. I don't know what other. Committee meetings are.
I've got DDIC next Monday. And then I've got an obligation the first Monday next month. And then.
Third.
What Tuesday the 4th?
I have,
Is it? Oh, is it? Sorry.
yeah,
Oh, geez.
so,
Fit it in, it's.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's 6th, Thursday.
Yeah, I can do.
it doesn't really work for me.
I think I have a meeting on the 6th.
What is, well, I just wanna make sure. You're retired, right?
Any day after April 8th is fine.
Yeah, that's not gonna help.
Could be with me too.
Are you free during the day? Yeah. Eliza, I think it's just,
I'm free during the day.
you are, so it's really just on me then,
Pushes on.
Well, no, it really isn't because I'm 100% remote. So I can make almost, as long as I don't have work meetings, I can make during the day work.
That's,
All during your guys' day,
That's
so
not-
you guys aren't here till 6 o'clock at night.
I have work-related travel next Wednesday. But any other.
Well, I
any
think
other day
I
during
think
the
we're
day.
gonna try for the first week of April when Brenda returns.
Oh, right, right.
Um,
the data sets. Is that any better for you, Ahmed?
as long as we can wrap, let's see.
Yeah, I've got some 5:30 the night of Monday, the 3rd. Other than that, my week's wide open. So.
Um.
Thursday, right?
Thinking. What if we did? The morning of the 4th? Because like, there's a FinCom meeting that night, so if anything we come up with. Is ready for FinCom, we can present it to them that night.
Oh,
That's Tuesday, correct?
It's a Tuesday. What time are we thinking then? Like 9 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 in the morning? I don't know what time you guys,
Get up at 5.
you guys work long days anyways, right? Because you have
Yeah,
If that's true.
the West meeting before
on a Monday night?
no, you're talking about what?
I'm talking about the Tuesday, the 4th. Tuesday, the 4th.
that.
9?
9 o'clock?
Is that okay?
I got 3-year-old twins. You can make it at 5 o'clock in the morning. Right?
Okay. It's for me.
And then just really quick in the updated packets that I handed out, I did include the meeting, meeting. But yeah, like, and like, if you want to still review them between now. And the meeting. On April like that, whatever we just said that.
On the 8th, we inviting the department heads. That meeting.
I think we need to.
Yeah, I think we should invite at least Mr. Ferry, Chief Cronin.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, we're talking about $500,000 towards the project.
Yeah.
Fourth meeting in person.
Yes. Yeah, likely if that's okay. Mhm.
Okay. All right, then, next agenda item is the approval of the meeting minutes. Anybody have any? Has everybody had a chance to review? Are there any comments?
Yeah, like, I think they might have just been sprung on everybody, so. we'll
Just
sprung-
today.
Yeah, yeah, so if we just
Okay,
wanted
that's
to table them. Yeah, yeah, they're at the back of the packet that we handed out, but like I do
Oh,
think it's
I didn't-
kind of quick.
Okay,
So we can table them.
Yeah.
so yeah, I'll take entertain a motion to table the review.
You can make that motion.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Do we still have to do roundtable votes?
No. No, because we're all here.
Okay, so motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Related committee discussion. So the only thing that I wanted to bring up was actually from the meeting minutes. We had authorized Mike to go talk to with regards to our open meeting law complaint. You from Patrick Higgins, you.
Yeah, it's all done. It's been settled, but no longer on the ballot.
Thank you. Other open items we need to talk about.
Okay.
Entertain a motion to adjourn then. So moved. Been made and seconded. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
I kept going on, I was typing it in,